Welcome back to the JFP podcast. My name is Keegan. I'm joined today with Randy and another one of our teammates, Trevor, who played for the Rat Kings. And we're talking to Steven Kalin from the Rat Kings. What's going on, Steven?
Hey, how's it going, man?
I kind of want to dive into your paintball career. When did you start playing paintball?
My story of how I started playing paintball is unique. I'll do the abridged version of it. When I was 12-ish years old, maybe 11, maybe 13, I can't remember. I was in this Scared Straight type program in Merritt Island, Florida, called SAR is the Search and Rescue Corps. And the guy who ran the organization was the owner of a local paintball field out here. So the basis of the program was you take your misbehaving teenagers and they go and get yelled at by active duty Marines, twice a week. And you get straightened out. So I was a bad kid, and my mom knew some other mom who had a kid in this program, and she swore that it was the best thing ever. So of course I went there and got punished, and went through a bunch of stuff that there's no way would be legal today. But
Hell
uh
yeah.
what yeah, yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of having 13-year-olds do like log PT and in the swamp and stuff. And once the way they had the program structured was there was like two divisions. It was like Bravo and Alpha, and Bravo was for the misbehaving kids. But what would inevitably happen is after a couple months of getting smoked in this program, you started behaving at home, and then you didn't want to quit because you were learning all this military discipline type stuff. So you get promoted to Alpha Company. And Alpha was just where instead of getting punished all the time, we learned fire team formations and buddy rushing and how to do like real warfare tactics with our platoons and squads. And once a year, we were required to do battle warrior training where we would go to the paintball field. We would take everything we learned and they give us our little Titman 98 customs, and we'd have to traverse this field while getting shot at by these active duty Marines. And I didn't know anything about paintball, and I was terrified to get shot by a paintball because I was a kid. And my grandma is the coolest lady ever. She knew that I was going to be doing this in a few weeks, and she was out garage sale shopping and found a copy of Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball for the Xbox.
Oh
And
yeah,
oh, dude, I got hooked. I mean, that's all I did all day, every day was play Greg Hastings Tournament Paintball. And honestly thought that that had prepared me for whatever they were going to throw at me. And I showed up that day and I think I got shot like 6 times in the top of the head in the same exact spot. I mean,
Ooh,
I had
oh,
a golf ball size lump on the top of my head. It was horrible.
for sure.
Never wanted to do it again. And then at the end of the day, I shot this, jacked active duty Marine guy that was running at me with a paintball gun. And after that, I was just hooked, And then after that, I told my mom, like, hey, I want to get into paintball. She got me a Titman A5 with a response trigger. I still have that gun hanging on my wall. That
that's
thing is
awesome.
a tank. It still works too, which is amazing to me. It's like 20 years old at this point. But yeah, got into playing just woods ball stuff. Never wanted to play speedball. It was just really intimidating to me as a kid. And then around 16, 17, I just stopped playing, got into, the more dark adult stuff. Most, maybe I won't say most. A lot of people go through when they're 18, 19, 20. I was just partying, doing drugs and stuff, and then cleaned up. And about a year and a half, 2 years ago, me and my buddy were sitting at a bar, and one of those HK Army paintball edits popped up on our feed. And we were like, dude, do you remember paintball? We should go do that again. And then we went out to a couple fields in Orlando and got hooked. Ended up out in Palm Bay, which is where I play now every weekend. And yeah, I think from the first day I stepped foot onto a speedball field, I haven't missed a Saturday or Sunday since.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. That's a unique story in how you got into paintball because it feels like a lot of people who get introduced like that to paintball, they're getting shot up and not having a good time. Those are the type of people who kind of shy away from paintball, and I'm very happy that you found that HK ad and were able to get back into it years later down the road. So it's really fun to see those people getting back into it, and hopefully we can, those people who've had a shittier time, their first experience, we can get those guys back into playing the sport too.
Yeah, and also, I mean, different it all comes down to like the age when you start playing paintball too. So like as an adult, you want a good first experience. I'm not saying like it's good to get lit up when you're 13, but different kids need different things to motivate them to get into things. Like I played like baseball when I was a kid, and without having a parental figure being like, "Hey, I know you're scared to go out there. I know you don't know these people. I know it's, a new environment that you're nervous about entering, but hey, guess what? You're going to do it and you have no say about it." And some kids need that. Some kids need to be pushed into their discomfort zone, and sometimes in that discomfort zone you find something that you like love.
Yeah,
That's
something you're
awesome.
passionate for. What position you play?
Dude,
What does he
everywhere
play?
everywhere except the three. And I can play the three, but I'm very fast, so it's kind of a waste of my like speed.
For
I
sure.
mean, Steven's kind of fast. I mean, as long as you
Yeah,
lane
yeah,
him,
yeah,
he'll be
yeah.
fine. I've shot him out multiple times, so I'm not
Trevor's the
even.
only person who could shoot me off break, and that's why I'm happy he's not here anymore. But no, I mean, when I started, I was a snake player because I feel like, I was like, I came into paintball like in my adult years after the last sport I was heavily involved in, if you could call it that, was bodybuilding. So I was into like self improvement and being very aggressive about my training. So when I kind of took that when I came into paintball, and if you watch like pro or any divisional paintball in the tournament scene, the most aggressive player is obviously the snake player. I just immediately was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I want to be the snake player. I want to be the guy running and diving off break and shooting people in the side of the neck. And I did that for a season, and then our organization, as like I could get into later, but Trevor will tell you, we have no shortage of very, very talented snake players in our organization. So, I mean, guys like there's a guy on our team in D3 named Jasper Long, and you should remember that name because he's going to be a pro one day. I promise you.
Jasper is one of the best, and I kid you guys not. He is one of the best snake players I've ever seen. To
How old
watch
is
Yeah,
that
he?
guy,
he's like 23, maybe something like
Okay.
that.
he's super young, but like when he dives, he's floating in the air. It's like it turns into slow mo. The guy is so smart and is just a phenomenal player. I mean, I can't give Jasper enough praise. That's how great of a player that guy is. Super knowledgeable, IQ is there. I mean, everything you would want in a snake player.
Yeah, his body language, if you watch Malloy, I swear, I know it's crazy to say, but Jasper looks like Malloy on the field. Like they look identical. It's crazy. And Malloy, I'd put as maybe the best snake player in the world right now.
I was watching your documentary. I'm gonna throw it up on here, running in circles, a Rat King story. He's a funny motherfucker in your guy in that documentary, and along with the two brothers, those guys are hilarious. So I highly
Yeah.
recommend whoever can watch this should watch Running in Circles. I'll throw this up on a link.
Yeah, well, and he's just super, well, that's what happens when you're that good at something. He's like that when he plays. And it's because I mean, once you're good enough at something that you can just be that loose on the field, and then he's just having fun. And everyone plays better when they're having fun. So
For
with
sure.
confidence comes that, having fun, and when you're having fun, you play better. But where I was going with all that is we have no shortage of talented snake players on our team. So this past season, I was moved over to Dorito side as an attacker just because that was the hole that needed to be filled. And last season was my first full season in D5 X Ball. We won the series, but in D5, it's interesting because, the higher up the divisions you get, the less you really need to worry about individuals' capabilities. But when you have an organization that has like 20 different D5 players in it, and you're taking the best 8 for an event, you're still understanding that no not a single one of those 8 players is good at everything. So you have
Mhm.
to have your 8, and you have to know what they're good at and where they're good. So last season I really just spent the whole season being the like fill the hole guy. Like I spent a tournament where I was the Dorito attacker. I spent a tournament while I was the 2 on snake side. I played the home one event. I mean, I just played wherever I felt like the team needed me to play. And that's why I say I don't really have a position. I just, when a layout comes out, I figure out where I could be the most helpful, and that's where I play. It's just never the 3 because we've got tall guys to do that.
Right, for
And I'm
sure.
not very tall.
It's always nice to have, at least one couple guys on your team that are that flexible. They're able to play anywhere. Putting speed into that factor too helps out a lot too, especially as a home player. If you have to fill out, if you got the speed to fill out, you can get out there quick.
Yeah, we actually have an event, our first MVPS, which is the local series. It's the Maximum Velocity Paintball Series. It usually happens out in Kissimmee, Florida, but now it is going to be hosted at what was formerly Tiki's Paintball Park. I guess they rebranded to Thunder Valley. But our first event of the season is this weekend. And this layout, I'm playing the home, but it's like a floater position in the back. You shoot the shot, read the paint, and then fill out to a corner. So it's still a lot of running. It's just not running in the first 2 seconds.
For sure.
Yeah.
When did you actually join the Rat King, Steven? Because I know when I came down there, did you just recently around that time get on the Rat Kings, or how long have you actually been on there?
Did you join in the 2024 to 2025 like off season?
So I started. So kind of. You wanted me to play that first MVPS event. You messaged me like the week of. You're like, hey, can you join? And I couldn't. So kind of right in that time frame is when I came in.
That's right. Yeah, and you should have joined that first event because you could have gotten the gold medal from that one also.
Yeah, I know.
I told you, man. You put Bobby and Brian in front of you, you can't lose. But yeah, no, I joined the Rat Kings like probably 6 months before you came out there. So my story of that, like I said earlier, where I played speedball for the first time and then just started going back every weekend. The first place I played speedball was at Palm Bay. But it's kind of funny, and this kind of might be able to lead into some of talking about what fields could do better. But when I went out to Palm Bay, I went out there as like a rec guy, like everyone does. But I had zero interest in playing on the Woods Ball field or the Spools field or any of the fields they had. I was just looking at the airball bunkers, and that's all I wanted to do. And I was playing rec ball and just getting more and more pissed off that they weren't bringing us down to the speedball field. And I remember going up to Max, who was a ref out there and the photographer out at the field, and he was running rec ball that day. And I told him, like, hey man, bring us to speedball. And he told us, no, the teams are over there practicing for a tournament. My first thought was, dude, fuck the teams. I paid my entry. Like,
Yeah.
I want to go play speedball. What makes them so much better than me? Like, if I want to go down there and play, we should go play. And he went over, talked to the speedball guys. They, came off the field so we could play our couple points. And I got to dive snake and shoot a couple people. And, I was hooked after that. But I didn't want to go back to Palm Bay after that because I was like, okay, that's a place where unless I have a full team, I'm not going to get to play speedball. So we went to a couple of the Orlando fields, which in Florida, like Florida is a mecca of paintball. I would argue that it's
Yeah.
the mecca of paintball right now. There's a ton of fields, but where I'm located, where I live, I'm right in the middle of everything. I mean, I could drive 2 hours out to Tampa and play at Legacy, where Damage and those guys are playing, or Tiki's where like Red Legion and those guys are playing, but that was just too far away to travel without having a full team to get spins with. So the next closest field it's the Defy field now in Orlando. And me and a couple buddies went out there and played, and the culture was just awful, man. Like they were the biggest like, pardon my language, the biggest dickheads out there. I mean, everyone's screaming at you because you don't know what you're doing. I hopped in to get spins with a random team. They asked me, what position do I play? I said, well, I play snake, but I've only played speedball like 4 times ever. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. They said, oh man, all good. We'll help you. And I remember the first point, my two screaming at me for not doing the right thing. We lose the point, get off, and they're telling me I'm worthless and you suck and what are you doing and stuff. And that put a bad taste in my mouth. Not for speedball. I knew there was a place for me, but definitely with Orlando Paintball, I was not going to go back there. And I went back to Palm Bay just to give it one more chance. And the Mid Atlantic Major layout had just released, and I was already obsessed with figuring this thing out, that I had studied the layout and walked it on guns up for hours. And when I showed up, I went and talked to Max again and said, hey man, have you looked at this layout? And I started telling him what I liked, what I didn't like, and he looked at me, and I think his exact words were, oh, you're ready. And he walked me over to Chris, the owner of the Rat Kings, and just said, hey, talk to Chris, you're a Rat King now. And I played practice with them that whole day, and at the end of the day, Chris said, hey, do you want to play the tournament with us? I said, well, yeah. What do you mean? I don't. How does this work? And he said, well, we need you for 3-man, and we want you for 5-man. And I said, yes, I'll definitely play the tournament. It's a huge mistake on y'all's part for adding me, but I'm down. So, and that was kind of the end of the story. I mean, I just stuck around ever since then.
That's awesome. Hell
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Well, being down in Florida, man, you got a lot better weather than we do up here.
The weather's not that much better. I mean, you play down there like July, like that last event that I played,
It's
the
hot.
Summer Rumble. Man, it was rough. You're talking 100% humidity. It was 107 degrees.
Oh, hell
Like
no.
it's sometimes I'll take the cold over that, because especially when it was in Kissimmee, there's no wind, there's nothing, so it's just a swamp the entire time.
Oh, and
Yeah, I
everyone's
got
stinking.
I got hyperthermia the first event I played, which is obviously the opposite, hypothermia. But yeah, I got so overheated and exhausted that I like started getting shivers, and I thought I was freezing to death.
Oh my God.
Oh,
What's the
Yeah,
coldest
crazy.
temperature you've played in?
Uh, I don't know, 40s maybe. Although this event next weekend, we got this crazy storm coming in. It's apparently the real feel is going to be 17 degrees at this event, which will be by far the coldest I've ever played paintball in.
That's t-shirt and short weather for us.
Yeah.
That's insane, man. I might honestly, I might start a petition for them to reschedule this event because this is unacceptable. I'm a fair weather paintball player.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, with the temperatures going down, it's a lot. I don't know if you've ever played paintball in in extreme cold, but expect a lot of to be shooting soup. Your guns are not
Yeah.
going to be working right, and everyone's going to be hot beer, if you know what that call is.
Oh yeah. Our call is just cancer. Yeah,
Yeah, make sure you
but
got some gloves because you want to keep them fingers rolling. If they get cold, it's hard to keep that gun rolling.
oh yeah. I mean, ours. We've already talked about. It's gonna be barrel break central plus and. Yeah, first hot take of the day is like 5-star GI 5-star sucks, and in the cold it's going to be even worse. I mean, I'm already chopping paint with GI 5-star when the weather's nice. I can't even imagine how bad it's going to be out there. I almost prefer to shoot 4-star. No, I definitely prefer to shoot 4-star, not have to deal with the barrel breaks and just bounce them occasionally.
Just a harder ball in general. You like?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're playing the back line and you're holding a zone for 8 pods, I mean, a barrel break just ruins everything.
What are you currently rocking right now with your main setup?
I shoot a CS3, which is the greatest paintball gun ever made.
Yeah, we always get those. Everybody's sharing their CS3 fanboy experiences.
I will say this. I mean, like I said, I listened to the John Vito podcast today, and he was talking about the Lux. I will say the best shooting paintball gun is definitely a Lux. I had a Lux X for a while, and the shot on that thing and the trigger was just perfect. But when you're an attacker, you just want, especially in Florida. That's something I was going to mention. That was another thing I noticed. John talked about in his was coming and playing at World Cup and experiencing the dirt and the ground out here. And everyone from out of state will complain about the World Cup ground. That is a million times nicer than what we practice on. I mean, we practice on basically sand. So you
Yeah.
have to, yeah, you have to have a gun that does not get crap, in it that just, the CS3 is just perfect. I mean, I could go a month where I'm diving into sand and I never have to clean it. So
That's awesome.
That mud, because the start 6 feet from both start boxes is just nothing but mud.
oh, it's gotten so much worse, Trevor.
Ugh,
It's gotten so much
jeez.
worse. Yeah, we're actually moving the field after this event. You know that lot next to where they had the field up?
Yep.
Yeah, we're having to shift it down, and it's not even because of the dirt, it's because some idiots built their freaking houses right behind a speedball field, and they're demanding the city move the speedball field because their house
Jeez.
gets covered in paint every weekend.
That's their fault.
Yeah, well,
That's awesome.
but that's Florida real estate. All these guys, it's all, New Yorkers buy houses sight unseen out here, and then they show up. Imagine you buy a $500,000 home in Florida. It's going to be your retirement spot. Look it up on the maps, and it says, "Oh, it's a city park behind my house. That's going to be so nice." And then you find out, what city park actually means.
It's a paintball field. That's crazy, dude.
Talking
You
like the
got to be.
fence is almost butted up next to the corner of the field. You can basically touch them both at the same time. That's how
Oh.
close we're talking.
Mhm.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's not even like they're not getting like aerial strikes on their house. It's just the field's so close when we're doing tournament practice. Like our event right now, we've got strong snake corners. So when the snake corner is battling heads up, it's just bouncing off of the far snake corner onto their house.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Steven, obviously you're getting ready for this tournament. Kind of give us a little bit of what you do and what you guys do as an organization and a team to kind of prepare for these tournaments, because obviously kind of what we do is going to be a lot different than what you do, as well as a lot of other teams out there, especially since you guys are such a successful organization.
Yeah, I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about this over the last several months because it's hard to win in a sport, and it's especially hard to win in paintball. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about like we've got 6 or 7 lines going to this event, and I expect podiums out of like all of them. I have no reason to suspect otherwise, considering last season we had 4 lines that all dominated all season in 4 different divisions. And I really think the Rat Kings as an organization, our superpower is we just play more paintball than anyone else. Like, that's it. We don't have any like super special drills that we're running on the weekends. We're not, working out during the week more than like most of the guys honestly show up, they crack beers, and then they just play paintball for like 5 hours. But I listen to a lot of pros on podcasts, and I can't remember who said it, but he was talking about instincts and paintball as a pro player, trusting your instincts. But the only way you can learn, or the only way you can truly trust your instincts, is if you've played enough that your instincts are trustworthy. So I
Mhm.
really think the only way to get better at paintball is just play a lot of paintball. And I mean, we were just out there this past weekend. Our whole organization, we probably have 40 players out there on a weekend, which, I mentioned Florida's a mecca of paintball. We've got a ton of fields all around. We've got a lot bigger and nicer fields outside of Palm Bay. But the reason we like Palm Bay is also probably a reason why Palm Bay, doesn't make enough money off of us, but it's because we're really the only ones out there. And
Mhm.
when I hear stories about these teams out in Miami, I hear stories about these teams out in Tampa where they show up on a Sunday for practice and they play 6 points in 4 hours. And that couldn't be further from what's happening with the Rat Kings in Palm Bay. I mean, we show up. I played Saturday and Sunday. I probably put in 10 hours at the field, and there's no way I played less than 40 points this weekend. So, uh,
Jeez.
yeah, and I mean, I shot 5, 6 cases Saturday and Sunday,
Oh
and
wow.
that's another thing about Palm Bay is we're sponsored by the field. So I won't give you an exact number, but we get our paint really, really reasonably priced. But even without our sponsorship from the park, they sell their case of paint for like $42 a case. So
Wow.
it's yeah, super affordable for anyone to go out there and play. A lot of the Orlando and Tampa fields are charging 60, $65 a case, which I think is typical for most fields,
Yep.
but yeah, for us, I mean, we when we show up, we're there for speedball practice. We when we show up and buy our paint, we don't get entry over to the rec side. We don't get to play rec ball with the rec ballers. We're there for speedball for practice. So because of that, we're not paying like entry fees. We're just buying our paint. Us as the field sponsored team get it for basically what they pay for it from the field. So that lets us just show up and I mean show up buy 3 cases and when we run out buy more and and that's how you get good practice too. I don't know how it is for you guys, especially with fields that charge more for paint. Like what's an average when you guys show up to practice, how much paint do you expect each team member to buy for a practice?
Well, it
So
really depends on what field you go to, but it's roughly like 50 to $70 per case.
And are you guys shooting like a case or 2 cases a person at practice?
spend $300. We get 5 cases of paint, and essentially that's our entry fee. We get 5 cases for $300, and we
Wow.
basically shoot that during a practice. Our practices are usually 3, 4 hours long, and that's it. It's not like we're at the field the whole day. The thing is that out where we live, we have to drive an hour, 2 hours, some even 3 hours to go to the field,
Yeah, we have a
and
couple
it
guys who
becomes
are
a
driving like
long day for people who play paintball.
yeah, we got
Yeah,
a couple guys driving like 5, 6 hours from South Dakota coming
that's
out to the field. So
yeah, that's crazy. I was talking to Trevor about that because MVPS got moved from Kissimmee to Tampa, which all of us were bitching and moaning about the drive, and he told us how far he has to drive for, to make it to certain fields out there, and it would be yeah, I wouldn't even play paintball honestly if that was my situation. Because I mean, I'm complaining about having to drive an hour 45 to a tournament instead of 45 minutes, and I couldn't imagine, having to drive 4 hours anywhere. I mean, I mean, I'm married with 2 young kids, so I just can't dedicate that amount of time on a weekend
for
to
sure.
driving. But I mean, I drive an hour to and from Palm Bay every weekend, twice a weekend. But I mean, I think where I was going with that is I think the amount of paint that you can shoot at a practice as a team, like, and especially when your organization like ours is big enough to just spin against ourselves. I mean, our D5 could play our D5, our D4 could play our D4, our D5 can play our D3. We can all get spins against our own organization and just keep playing and playing and playing. And because paint is affordable, and they take such good care of us at Palm Bay Paintball that shout out Sean and Frank. We can actually load up every point with 10 pods on our back and tell our snake corner guy like, hey, when you get there and you're covering the wire, don't stop shooting. Like shoot a freaking case of paint this point. I don't care. And it gives everyone better practice because that's how everyone plays at tournament anyway. We don't have guys that practice one ball in coast to coast. We have people shooting a zone off break and holding a lane for, I mean, our last tournament last season, the way the field was, our home player had to carry 12 pods and they had to dump it into a Dorito side gap for the entire game. It's just how the layout played. And if we weren't able to just tell him like, hey, shoot, yeah, you're gonna shoot 4 cases of paint this practice, but we need to know how this field plays. Like, I don't think we would have won the series or podium that event. So I do think,
Crazy.
yeah, having the availability to paint and the availability to that many people in an organization to play with is definitely, like I said, our superpower is we just play a lot of points of paintball, and
For
that's how you
sure.
get better.
With these cold temperatures rolling in, are you guys preparing anything differently? Gear, play style, anything?
Yeah, I'm like sticking my hands in the freezer once a day to
Hell yeah.
prepare.
Hell yeah.
No, no, dude, no. I mean, we're all freaked out about this cold weather rolling in. We're Floridians. We have no idea what it's gonna be like. I'm assuming what I think's gonna happen is we're gonna get there. It's gonna be cold as hell, and then once we start playing, we'll be fine. I mean, it's paintball. I've been out, like I said, the coldest I've played is probably in the 40s. But and then I'm in a full jacket and stuff when I show up there, which probably sounds ridiculous to you guys. But you play one point, you warm up, and like Trevor said, honestly, I I haven't played in this cold of weather, but I suspect once we're rolling and playing and our body's warming up, it'll beat playing in 110 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how fast those points go, because if you're sitting around for a while, you're bound to get cold again.
Oh no,
Mhm.
dude, they got the rat's nest. They are set up and
Ooh,
solid.
I should mention that. So with our organization being so big, the owner of the team, Christopher Swist, it's basically him, his brother Matt, and their dad Stosh. Who Stosh is we call him the Big Cat. He is the greatest. I mean, he might be the best guy in paintball. He's my favorite person in the world. He takes such good care of us. Uh, I mean, this event's a little different, but it's usually hot as hell out here. And we show up to event with no less than 12 10 by 10 tents, stacked in rows together with fans and generators and
Damn.
uncrustables and drinks and ice packs and everything you could possibly need to survive a paintball tournament. And we've got so many lines that we'll have a line that plays on Saturday that doesn't play on Sunday. So when we're in the pits, we've got our 7 8 guys on an X ball line, but we'll have 15 people in the pits. Everyone's got a different player they're wiping down and loading pods up. I don't think I've aired up my own gun and put pods in my own pack in a season. I mean, you come off
That's
a point
crazy.
and yeah, people are just wiping you down, grabbing your gun to go air it up, put dump the old hopper paint, give you new hopper paint. People are running up to you and just shoving pods in your back. And that honestly, apart from us playing a lot of paintball at practice, that might be actually the number one or two reason why we do so well at tournament because
That's
not every
amazing.
team has that support staff.
Right, you guys got a
Because
lot of players.
Yeah, yeah, we have a lot of players.
well, here's a wild thing too, guys. I've never in my life have I ever seen a team bring a portable air conditioner out to a paintball field just so people could stay cool.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's genius.
They were bringing it into the pits. I saw Steven standing in front of it at the Summer Rumble, just cooling himself down. I'm like, what are you doing? He's just like standing in front of the AC.
Bro, I probably look zoned out.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Oh, I've had some. Yeah, I mean, how hot does it get up there? Like y'all ask me, what's the coldest I've played in? What's the hottest you guys have played in?
Ooh.
So
100.
yeah, the thing is about Minnesota is it gets really cold in the winters, but it also gets very hot in the summers too. Like it gets very humid up here, and so yeah, it'll get to the hundreds, and it'll probably feel like 120 up here too. So it's, but that's kind of rare. Normally it'll be like 80, 90 degrees.
Yeah, 80's like nice cool weather for us.
Yeah, if it's like
Usually
80
80s
here,
here. It's,
yeah,
ugh.
if it's 80 here, it's fucking 120% humidity, dude.
Yeah, we get that's the problem with Florida too. It's a very humid heat. It's not a dry heat. I mean, Trevor, how's the is it just as humid up there when it gets hot as down here,
Oh god, no. I can actually play down. I can actually play up here. Down there I was dead.
you can't breathe. Like it
No.
gets the air is just so heavy here. Like I said earlier, I came from bodybuilding. I'm still a very fit person, but my cardio can only take me so far until I mean, one of our teammates, Sam, played the Summer Rumble 2 years ago, and we got a call that he got hauled off in an ambulance because he went to
Oh
dinner
shit.
afterwards and just passed out and standing in line.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, I remember even when we were practicing for the Summer Rumble, Tristan and Merkel had to carry me
Yeah, yeah.
both Saturday and Sunday for practice. They had to carry me to the tents to cool me down because I've never in my life have experienced heat like that. And I was drinking water, I was doing the liquid IVs, and Florida in the summertime is no joke. Like
Dude,
up
everyone
up here it's
here,
different.
yeah, everyone here, an essential in your paintball kit at tournament here is a gigantic jar of pickle juice. It's the only way to survive.
Ew. Ah, no.
It's
You don't
the
like pickle
electrolytes.
juice?
It's the
No.
electrolytes, man.
Dude,
I
pickle
don't
juice
like
is so
pickles.
good.
I don't like
What?
pickles. No, I'm a picky eater. I'm sorry.
That's
Oh,
fair.
yeah, you wouldn't survive here, man. Hate to break it to you.
So you talk about a lot of points. That's how you guys typically find success. But I'm curious if there's other smaller things that you guys practice that really translates to wins on the field.
I would say, I don't know. I mean, I could take it to the basics. I mean, like some of the things I've noticed a lot of our newer players don't understand is if I said the term like rolling off or peeling off, would you know what I'm talking about?
I would think so. Yeah, it would be
So
like
like if
peeling off
you're
of the bunker and
yeah, if you're battling heads up with somebody and your whole job is maybe you're a 2 and let's just say you're at the snake insert bunker battling heads up with a guy who's mirrored up with you. And they put you in. One thing I've noticed a lot of newer players do is when they get put in, they just, they stop doing anything. They just look and start talking to people. So what we call like rolling off or peeling off is just, leaning back and continuing to shoot the zone that you're covering, but without giving the person that you're gunfighting the ability to shoot you anymore. So that's something we train a lot. Although I will say on the flip side of that, another thing that I've told my guys a lot is, if you're alive on the field with you're just hugging your bunker and communicating, you're doing a hell of a lot more for the team than you would be if you're dead. So
yep.
we try not to, I mean, it's a gunfighting sport. You have to gunfight, but recognizing when you have the advantage and when you don't, not engaging in 50-50 gunfights. But also, I know there's teams that are aggressive teams, and then there's like teams that are good at holding zones and playing pocket and being tight and making people run into their guns. I'd say we're a pretty safe hybrid of the two. Like our backline's very good at communicating, holding zones, shooting guys off break. Our off the break shooters are great. Our D5 off the break shooters have not been as strong since Trevor left, but we're working on it. And then our attackers are just like we play a very hyper aggressive brand of paintball at Palm Bay. I don't know, Trevor, can you vouch for this?
Yeah, it's so the best way I can really kind of like help back it up and explain it is it's different. So just Florida paintball in general is completely different. Um, the one thing when I started jumping in with you guys that I noticed is some of those guys are like Jasper. They're bam, they're in your face, and then there's guys who you think like, okay, hey, this guy's gonna get in my face. He's gonna go. Like I don't know what to do, but they just stay there and they're just like, nope, you're not going anywhere. I'm gonna hold this so you can't move. It's a really weird mix of the two
Yeah, I
that I've
mean,
just
like our
never
guys,
seen before.
like you played with or met Wonka and Poppy,
Yeah,
the father son. I mean, Wonka is maybe our best, one of our best, like young guys, and but he's not an aggressive player, but he is impossible to kill. He's a guy you send out to a corner off break because he's small and fast and he's gonna get there, but you also know that he doesn't want to get in your face. But what he does do is he does his job, he controls the wires, and you're going to have to get to RD1 to shoot him from the snake corner. There's no other way to do it. And then one thing I'll say about the pacing that we play is we win our points in 30 seconds or we lose them in 5 minutes. That's generally how we play paintball. Like, if we like to get the early kill, we set the pace, and if we have the advantage, we don't give you a second to breathe. But to like kind of circle back around, I think to more so what you're, more trying to get at about how we train and stuff. The longer I've been involved in this sport, the more I think the like macro doesn't matter as much because you guys play paintball. Anyone listening to this who plays paintball understands that it is a game of variables and
Mhm.
there are too many variables to account for. It's impossible.
Yep.
There's too much if that then this. You could if that then this yourself to death thinking about, how to play paintball properly. What you have to do to be a successful player and to have, a successful line is to get a bunch of guys to trust each other and trust their own instincts and then just play with some balls. Like, that's what it takes to, win events because you're always going to have. I actually had a talk with, because I captained the D5X line last season, and going into our final event, we were in a make or break situation in semifinals that would decide our season. And I told the guys, and I had been preaching it for like 2 months up to the event, is like, you're gonna get shot sometimes. It's paintball. Like, you can't judge whether you're doing the right things or not off of whether you got shot because that's not a correct metric to use. The better metric to use is, especially because we play X ball, so it's like, what is the overall picture in the match that you're participating in right at that moment? Not the micro moment of I'm in the D1 and I need to get to the D2, or should I stay at the D1 and be safer, or should I take the risk? Well, that all depends. It depends on what's the score and what's the time. Are you down 2 points with 2 minutes left? Well, if we're down 2 points with 2 minutes left, you better have the courage to make a move and try to open up the point, regardless of whether you get shot out or not. It's still probably the right move. Now, can you always check things off a little better, or maybe you didn't dive quite as fast as you could have? Yeah, those are things everybody can work on, in between events and in the off season. But once you're there and it's happening, you're not going to let your team down by making a move trying to earn your team an advantage and getting shot out if your team needed the advantage.
Mhm.
Now, if you're up 2 points with 2 minutes left and you try to earn your team an advantage that we didn't need and you got shot out doing it, now I'm going to tell you you made the wrong move. So
Yeah.
I think getting people to understand the big picture, and I don't know, I'm saying a lot of focus on the big picture, focus on the small picture, whatever. All I'm trying to say is like the gun handling works itself out the more you play paintball. The movement works itself out the more you play paintball. The checking off bunkers before you make a move works itself out the more you play paintball. The thing that's hard to know is when you need to have the courage to, try to win it for your team and when you need to drop your ego and do your job for your team.
Yeah, I think that's very important. You mentioned winning within 30 seconds or losing in 5 minutes. I feel like it's the opposite for us. If we can survive off the break for at least 30 seconds and drop no bodies on our team, I feel like we can win 80% of the time those points. The thing is that we have never truly played an X-Bowl format, so I foresee us having troubles in those situations where we're down a point or down 2 points, what we're going to need to do in order to pull those victories, because we haven't really practiced, and that's something that we're going to be working on this year, but we haven't practiced those quick points. Do you have any recommendations?
It's courage. Like, that's all it is. That's really all it is. Because we had points. Hell, our D3 was down 2 points in the finals and had like 30 seconds left. And now, are you gonna win the match? Maybe not. But and let's even make it a more realistic scenario where you feel like you could still win. Maybe you're down 2 points with 2 minutes left. What you can't have is you can't be afraid to get shot out because you're not going to let your team down. Like I was saying, if you're trying to earn your team the advantage, you didn't do anything wrong. So you need to have the courage as a team and as an individual to, sack up and run through the center of the field. It's kind of like y'all have played 3-man, y'all have played 5-man. Have you ever
Yep.
been in a 3-man? Because there is no winning a point back. You either win the point or you don't. Have you ever been in a 3-man and you lost your guys and you're in a 1-on-3?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yep.
Yep.
What is, in my experience, the worst thing you could do in that situation is retreat back to a corner or the home and try to gunfight 3 people at a time. And I've done it. Like I've done it. That's what my instincts tell me to do. I was in a 1-on-3 in Tampa, in a 3-man, and it was one that mattered. Like we needed to win it. And I lost my guys. I'm in a 1-on-3. I retreated back to the home because I was just too focused on staying alive, and it lost us the point. And all I've thought about for a year is I should have just picked the guy right in front of me in the snake and gone and got him. Like, what's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is we lose the point, but that's probably going to happen anyway. But at least I'm giving my team the chance and giving myself a chance. Maybe I go bunker that guy and everyone else is looking the wrong way. And now I'm in a 1-on-2. And then I can pick another body and go get him. And now I'm in a 1-on-1, and all of a sudden a situation went from where I'm in a 1-on-3 to now I just got to win 3 1-on-1s. And the only thing that keeps you from doing that is, my coach would tell me like a year ago, you got to stop being scared of getting shot. And I'd tell him like, dude, I'm 30 years old. I've got face tattoos. I'm not afraid of getting shot. Like, and he told me, he's like, no, I don't mean like afraid of like getting shot because it hurts. I mean, you got to stop being afraid of getting out. Like that's gonna happen in paintball sometime. And that made me think a lot because that is what I was scared of. I was afraid of losing a point for the team. But if you're playing X ball, which I would highly encourage, like play X ball. X ball is the only way to really experience paintball because
Mhm.
it changes everything. I mean, you go from just having to win a point, and yeah, maybe the 5 alive for a couple minutes works in 5-man and you just let them make mistakes, but you can't use that when you're down a point with 2 minutes left. You don't have
Yeah.
time. You can't just sit in the back line and let them make mistakes because guess what, they're going to send their 5 bodies to 5 bunkers that they can make off break. They're going to cross up the field and they're never going to move, and then you'll lose that point, and you'll be sitting there after the point going, hey guys, why did we expect them to run into our guns? They didn't have to.
Yeah.
So, just understanding that situation, and then everyone going, okay, hey, this is the pace we need to play this point at. The worst thing that could happen to us is we lose, but hey, guess what? We're losing anyway.
Yeah.
So are we gonna try or not? And sack the fuck up and let's do this.
Right. That's fair. That's totally fair. And having that confidence will take you so much further as well, like you were saying.
It's the one thing the Rat Kings do so great at as an organization is give you that courage. And someone from the Midwest coming down and playing with you guys, this is going to be kind of a praise to you because, I kind of really looked up to you while I was down there playing with you. Your knowledge, you're a wonderful player, great human being. My first tournament with you guys, I ended up 1v3ing our own line. And, you kind of, as you said earlier, not to retreat, have that courage. And I kind of channeled my inner Steven, we're going to call it, at that time because I was scared going into it because I never really got put into that situation. And that courage under fire kind of really does make or break a person, knowing that, hey, this can go one of two ways. You're either going to win it or you're going to lose it. But facing, what's in front of you with courage really does go a long way in the sport, I've noticed.
Well, yeah. Hey, I really appreciate the kind words, Trevor. That's sweet, man. And the thing I'll say about that is, I'm 31. I'm starting to get a little older. Not that I'm like as old as Chris or Matt or any of those old guys, but I've become more like religious in my age, and having kids and stuff, that's become a lot bigger part of my life. And at events, I pray before events, and I never pray for like, I just pray we're going to win. Nothing like that. What I pray for every event is just the courage to go out there and play my best paintball, because we all sacrifice to play this sport. We sacrifice time, money, it's hard on our bodies. And the way I feel is like, I'll be damned if I just spent all that time, money, and effort to not, put it all on the line out here on the field. And, that's kind of the best you can do when you get to events, is just sit there for a moment and go, listen. And if you're not religious, that's fine. But for me, I go, look, I just pray for the courage to play my best paintball today. And at the end of the day, paintball, it's a game. Like, we're all playing a game. This is fun. That's what we're here to do, is have fun. So if you're out on the field and it's stressing you out so much that you're not having fun, then you're not doing it right. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's good in the middle of a match to take a breath and look around and realize, like, this is pretty freaking sweet. I'm at a paintball tournament with my boys. I've got twisted teas in the cooler, so even if we get knocked out early, I'm still gonna have a fun day.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
it's not that serious. Like, we all want to win. Everyone wants to win. When you put this amount of time and effort into something, you want to prove that it's worth it. But that's kind of secondary to the point of it all. The point of it all is paintball gives us meaning. Like, we all might be a little autistic for it, but this is the thing that happens to give us that sense of purpose and meaning in our life. And if it's all about winning, then it takes away from what brought us joy in the first place. If and the thing about all of that too is, if you have a line of people that have been practicing and putting in the effort, all they have to do is go and play paintball and have fun and do their best. And you're probably going to win if you do that, because, like I said earlier, in the Rat Kings, we practice a lot. So, we win and lose the tournament at practice. We don't win and lose tournaments at tournament.
For
So,
sure. With all that said, do you still get nervous before a point or your first point or any point throughout the entire day?
I get that feeling. uh Man, this is a very Florida reference, but here we go. When I was a kid, like, my parents or grandparents would take me and my sister to Disney, like once a year. And that night before you go to Disney, or I mean, a better example is probably like Christmas when you're a kid. That Christmas Eve night, you're having trouble falling asleep. You're excited. You're thinking. I lay down, and all that's going through my head is what's going to happen at tournament, and every scenario that could occur. And then I have dreams, dude. Before every tournament, I have dreams about playing paintball, and I have dreams about people calling me and telling me I either did really good at tournament or I sucked at tournament. I've had every type of paintball dream there is to have. But once I get there, no. I mean, the nerves and the I don't even, honestly, I don't get an adrenaline dump at tournament, really. I know when I started playing paintball, I felt that. I felt like this was an adrenaline packed sport, but the more I play, the more just calm I feel when I'm playing paintball. Because truthfully, paintball, in the truest sense of the word, is practice and meditation. Like,
Mhm.
all meditation is focusing on one thing and shutting out the outside world. And when you're in the middle of a paintball point and you're shooting at a guy and he's shooting at you, and all you're focused on is, how do I get from this bunker to that bunker, it just shuts out the entire world around you. And to me, that's just, I'm never more calm than I am when I'm on a paintball field playing paintball.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Me personally, I still get before almost any point in a tournament. When I'm at that start box, I always get a little bit of butterflies in my stomach, because I don't know how this point's gonna go. As soon as that buzzer goes off, it all goes away, and I just play paintball.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the experience for most people too. I mean, Bobby and Brian, the two brothers from the movie, Or I walk up to them every event. Even though last season in D6 3-man, they just won everything. They won every time. Still going into events, I'd walk out, how y'all feeling, man? And Bobby would tell me, I got the first point jitters. I'm like, dude, you're good, man. You're better than the rest of these guys out here. And he'd always say, like, I know, but I don't know, man. Every point, every time I get to tournament, I feel this way. And I do remember that feeling, but I just think, I just play all the time. Like I'm just used to it at this point.
Yeah.
Do you guys go play on weekdays? Is the field open on weekdays for you guys?
I've been given like I'm really tight with the park owner. He's given me the ability to go out there and practice during the week. I don't. Most of us don't. We usually just play Saturday, Sundays. But yeah, and it's an hour away from my house. If it was closer, like the way I'd prefer to treat a paintball park is like a gym. Like if I had a paintball park right down the road from me, I'd go 6 days a week and just treat it like I would go into the gym every day. But unfortunately, I'm too far away from the field, and not everyone's like that. I mean, most of our organization, probably 80%, would never train during the week anyway. Most of them, I mean, the median age on our team's like 45 years old or something. So
Okay.
they're more interested in pounding beers and shooting kids.
Hell yeah.
It was interesting because, we talked to John, and it seemed like those guys up there, they're going during the weekdays. They're playing as much as possible. They're either going to Siege or they're going to what they call the dojo, and they're always practicing something. And yet, you guys, for as much paintball as you guys play, are just finding constant success through just playing paintball whenever you can. This is kind of going on a different topic, but what could paintball fields do better in order to maintain or even grow their audience, to get more people into the sport?
Well, let me jump into that in 1 second because that reminded me of something. I wanted to say the Rat Kings as an organization, we have a slogan. We're a personality-driven organization, not a talent-driven one. And I am a firm believer that if you have a bunch of people that just buy in, that goes a lot further. And having a group of guys that are all honestly, like, all just best friends, like, that's going to go a lot further than just having guys that are really good and trying to make a mesh together. I mean, Paintball Fit proved that in the pro division
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and there's different training styles everywhere. Like even in Florida, you've got Tiki's with Red Legion, even their divisional teams, they're doing like drills on turf fields that have no bunkers up and just have targets, and they're doing these weird sliding drills, and that's what they do. That's how they play, is they just drill. I teach their own. I just don't think, yeah, it's more the mentality and having fun and just balling outrageous with your buddies is where you find success. But that's just me personally. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
to go into what you were saying, what fields could do better to grow an audience is this is my hot take on like what paintball as a whole could do better, because it's going to be completely contrary to what everyone else says, because everyone says, new paintball players come from the rec scene, so we got to grow the rec scene and really make sure people are enjoying the recreational side of paintball, and then they'll come over to speedball. I disagree. I think that if you look at any other sport, there is like the version of the sport that's recognized as that thing. So if I were to say like basketball, you wouldn't think three guys playing horse in their front yard. You'd think LeBron James, and I don't know basketball. That's the only freaking player I know. But
I get what you're
you
saying.
you'd imagine, however many people. I should have picked a sport I freaking knew. But but you'd expect a basketball game or soccer. You wouldn't when you hear people talk about soccer, think about people, just passing a ball back and forth in their backyard. You'd think about, an actual soccer event with referees running around, and there's a structure to this thing, and you can understand how the sport works. I think that I would like paintball to get to a place where when people say paintball, they don't think, mill sim out in the woods. They think, Red Legion, they think Paintball Fit, and they think airball bunkers, X-ball, buzzers, and minor penalties, major penalties, and I don't think us as paintball players have done a good job at explaining what the sport is to the layman. Like, I've had family members and friends come out to paintball events, and it takes a whole event to get them to even understand how X-ball works. But the thing is, once they understand it, they love it. Like, because now it's a real sport, and they can, even if they're not involved in playing, they can find players that they like to play and teams that they like to watch, and cheer for them. And you can't do that with woods ball, rec ball stuff. Like, you're never
Right.
going to get people to care about paintball outside of paintball when your main example of the sport is just, oh yeah, we hang out in the woods and we shoot at each other, and people wipe hits, but no one cares because it's not serious, and we're just kind of messing around out here. So I would say that fields, and I understand that financially fields don't benefit as much off of speedballers at practice as they do with like their rec ball birthday parties, but I really wish fields would cater more to the speedball side of things, make nicer training facilities. I think the number one thing you could do if you're a paintball field owner and you've got some money to put into the field, I think you build a shower and locker room first thing. Like, that should be the priority, because if you set up a paintball field like it's a place that people go and practice to get better at this thing that they enjoy, and you facilitate the ability for them to get off work on a Wednesday and drive out and get some practice in with other guys who are just trying to get better at this sport we call paintball, and then go shower, use the restroom, change into your normal everyday clothes, and leave 45 minutes later. That's how I think you grow the sport and get participation, because I don't think there's any shortage of people who understand, like, there's this thing you could go do with your friends for a bachelor party. I don't think people know that there's this real sport that takes skill and luck and, athleticism that you can go and practice and actually get better at. And I think once we do a better job at explaining to the layman that, like, hey man, this isn't just, us messing around with our buddies in the woods. This is a sport, and you should check it out, and if you think it's cool, come practice, try a practice, and inevitably everyone who plays paintball loves paintball. Like, once you play it, you're
Yeah.
hooked. It's
Oh yeah.
impossible not to get hooked.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say that was
So,
Randy's take. Randy's take was when you mention paintball to somebody, that all they think is the woods ball aspect of paintball. They don't even know that speedball is a thing. And I love the fact that you brought the locker room and shower aspect into it, because you think about any other sport, basketball, hockey, at the ice arena, they've got a locker room and showers. And after you get done practicing, you're going to be, changing your stuff into different clothes, taking showers. Make that more of a homey feeling, if that makes any sense.
I
yeah, and
agree.
could you imagine if you were wanting to get into hockey, but your only conception of hockey is meeting up with like four buddies on a frozen lake and just like slapping a puck at each other as hard as you could, and you didn't understand rules or nets or teams or like playing in an actual hockey, stadium, like y- like you would just be like, okay, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'll go to the bar and hang out with my buddies. But if like, oh man, this is a sport, and there's this place I can go and like bring my stuff and change into it, and there's going to be other guys there like practicing, and I could get tips from other guys to get better at this. I don't like rec ball, paintball personally. Like, Trevor will tell you, I never play rec. Like, I'm the most anti-rec paintball player you'll ever meet, because I don't it does nothing for me. Like I said
Mhm.
earlier, the adrenaline's gone in paintball for me. What's left is self-improvement. That's what I thrive on. That's what I want to do. I want to get better at something. So I'm not going to go to if I had never heard about paintball tournaments and watched those HK Army edits, I would have gone out to a woods ball field. I would have played 2 weekends. I would have figured out the field, and I would have been like, all right, that was cool, I'm done, and never gone back.
Right. So what do you think we could do differently for a first person watcher, the first time they've watched speedball, or even if it's, just a quick 3-on-3, like what do you think we could do to change so that it's more understandable for them, where they don't have to sit there all day to watch just to understand it by the end of the day?
You just talk to them. I mean, I go when I'm at tournaments and I'm not playing, I will go to the and inevitably at every tournament in Florida, it's always packed, and you can walk over to the stands or next to the pits, and there's always a lost looking set of parents that just you could tell they have no idea what's going on, but they're there to support a kid. And I walk up to them and go, "Hey, you have a family member playing?" They go, "Yeah, it's my son. This is our first event. He asked us to come watch." And I go, "Well, do you know what's going on?" "No, I have no idea." And I'll sit there and tell them, and I'll watch a couple points with them and be like, your son did a great move there, or hey, he really messed up right there, and this is why. And I think like paintball, as much as I hate to admit it, because I'm 31 years old, it's a kid sport. Like it's a teenager sport, and you got to get parents to want to care about paintball, because the kids will go play rec ball, and then they'll see those speedball players over there because we look so cool, and they'll come over and they'll get hooked. But I mean, the experience I've had with my own parents, even as an older guy trying to get, because my whole family is a sports family, from baseball to soccer to volleyball to everything, and they don't want to come to a paintball event. And it's just because I kept telling them like we're not just at a random paintball field out in the woods like messing around. Come, it's real. Like just come see it. See what it
Yeah.
looks like. See what a tournament looks like. There's 4 fields out here, and there's bleachers, and there's vendors, and there's food, and hundreds of people showing up to do this sport that you don't understand. But if you can get there and just get like you, it's unfortunate because paintball, you can't really feel what the point is unless you're there in person. But if you
Yeah.
could be there, and even if you don't know anything about it, just to hear the way these guys are talking to each other and how excited people are getting when their teammate hits the buzzer, like you can feel the energy at an event. And once parents and family members feel that energy, they'll most of the time they'll want to understand what their family members involved in,
For sure.
because then and I think that's the first hurdle, because like I said, most of these guys coming into the sport are young, so they have parental financial backing to even do this thing in the first place. So you have to get the parents on board, or the kids are never going to get to play. But unfortunately, also we play a very hard sport to sell to people that don't play it. Like that's, and I'm not even 100% sure on how to get more people into it. The only thing I could say is, in whatever paintball team or organization you're in, make sure that it's a positive environment and a good community, with a positive culture. And that's why I love the Rat Kings, because we're a positive culture and we win. You have to have both of those things, or it doesn't matter. You can have a bunch of buddies that get along good and it's a positive culture, and you're taking 14th places in event. No, like no hate on how well anyone does an event. That's not the point of what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if you have a positive culture in your organization and you're winning, other teams and organizations are going to look at you and go, "Hey man, there's a formula here, and it works because they're all getting along, and it also works on the scoreboard. So maybe we should adopt more of that open, welcoming, culture in our own organization also." So in a
Yeah, for
weird way, I
sure.
think it's good people's responsibility to win paintball tournaments.
Yeah. I have a hot take that I want your 2 cents in. I don't. It wasn't made by me, but I think it was made by Paul, and I said this before. Golf is the white collar sport, and paintball is the blue collar sport. It's either you can waste your money on golf, or you can waste your money on something else, but people don't know God paintball exists, and like you're spending your I don't know what the cost breakdown would be, but I would assume you're spending a lot in golf. If people didn't play golf, would there be more interest in paintball?
I think that I agree with you 100%. Paintball is a blue collar sport. And that's where I feel like paintball media is failing and paintball movies are failing. Like we talked about All That Matters. I don't know if we were recording for that, but that's why I didn't like that movie because we're too busy smelling our own farts to like fucking humble ourselves to what we really are, and I'm speaking us, but more broadly like pro paintball and the NXL and these big leagues. We're not these guys aren't fucking meditating on top of a mountain and that's why they're better than you or me. Like they most of the guys in paintball and even at the pro level are blue collar guys. And I think paintball media, especially in the pro scene, I'd like to see a movie that follows the fucking Edwards brothers, working on their field and building shit with their hands and then talk about the reality of life, working 5 days a week with your hands and for some reason, even though you're already tired, you have to go to the field and play because it's that addicting. It's that much fun. It's something that makes the rest of your life, kind of melt away. I think we could do a lot better job at and this goes for even divisional paintball players. Hell, I've met some cocky D6 players, that think they're better than the rec ball guys at their local field. The thing is like we all got to start saying more like we're a bunch of retarded blue collar guys that like to shoot at each other on the weekends. And if you're a retarded blue collar guy, you could come join us and you're going to love it.
That's a great slogan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe, yeah.
I've seen Steve eat crayons, so it's all good. I've seen him eat crayons.
The orange ones are tasty, man. But yeah, I mean, it's a hard thing to figure out for sure. But I think the sport's growing. I think that but also I'm biased in my view because I came into the sport a year and a half, 2 years ago. So new players always think the sport's growing because they get into it and they start being exposed to this whole new world they didn't even know existed. And I do and here's the other side of this. This is completely contrary to everything I've said about how to grow the sport is I've got these like contradictory views about this because the other view is like maybe this is just for us. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's not meant for the world to understand. Maybe this is a thing that is for us and it just that's the way it is. That's the other train of thought I've had on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but so down where you're at, I mean, you guys got what 40 plus people on your team. Up here, man, we don't have that. We don't have that many people that play. We don't have that many people that know about it, especially with us having such a long off season where there's no people being exposed to paintball whatsoever for such a long period of time. It's a lot harder to get people up in the Midwest into the tournament scene of paintball.
Yeah, I'd say where you guys are, you definitely face a whole different set of challenges than we do down here. Because down here, it's just trying to get people to the field. Up there, I could imagine. I mean, there's probably entire months where it's like there's no way new people are going to come out to the field.
Yeah.
The problem is that once winter comes, people have different hobbies, and then they get stuck doing out whatever their hobby is during the wintertime, and it leaks over to springtime, and they're still doing that hobby during the springtime, and then they just never come back around to playing paintball again.
Right.
And I think that's one of our main issues.
Right, like hockey being such a big thing up here, where during paintball off season, a lot of people play hockey.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
in-
I've got a little cousin I've tried to get into paintball, and he comes out every once in a while, but he's a baseball player, so once baseball starts back up, he's gone. But yeah, but that's just different strokes for different folks kind of thing. Like, it also boils down to like a personal discipline type thing. People in general have a habit of finding something they love. They know they love it. They know they want to dedicate the time and effort to it. But about 6 months later, they just forget why they ever wanted to do it in the first place. And then they move on to the next thing. and then they'll do that inevitably with the following thing also.
Mm.
One thing I do all the time, I try to constantly remember how I felt like watching those paintball videos of the pros before I ever went and played paintball, and how much I wanted to do this. And when I saw it, I was like, that's it. I want to go train and get good at this thing. And I just try to remember, because that's the thing. Mike Bianco was just on a podcast with Shelda Photos, and he said that the word passion comes from, he might have said Latin, the word passio, which means to suffer. It's like that's what it is. When you have a passion for something, it's not because you always love it. It's because you found something that you're willing to suffer to do.
Yeah.
And for some people it's paintball, for some people it's hockey, for some people it's golf. I would say that people blowing all their money on golf are idiots, but I think they'd probably say the same thing to us. We're going to the Tampa event here in March, and they're doing it inside the Buccaneers Stadium, which I think is a huge step for broadcasting paintball and
Oh yeah.
legitimizing the
That'll be
sport.
awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be huge, especially if you can get two fields up and then you can kind of pick and choose which game, or you can watch both games at the same time. I think that would be pretty cool to get two fields up.
But I mean, that's the answer, though, right? I mean, like, how do you expect people to come out to a field when it's snowing and cold out in the Midwest if they don't already care about the sport, before they come out and play it?
Yeah.
If all they think about is going and playing and shooting at their buddies in the woods at a bachelor party, of course they're not going to do it when the weather's bad. But if they go, this is a sport that I could train and compete in, then you're going to start having those people who go like, dedicated people, like not dedicated to the sport, they'll become dedicated to the sport, but dedicated to personal growth and responsibility and self-discipline. They'll go, hey man, I want to get better at this thing. Yeah, the weather sucks. Well, but training for anything sucks, so I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's one of your most memorable moments on the field?
Uh, um, every event I shoot one of my teammates in the back of the head. That's pretty cool.
Been there on both ends.
Yeah, I've gotten
Shout
a
out Seth.
reputation for it. Those are probably my most memorable. Oh no, actually, okay. The final event of this last season is that semifinals match I was telling you all about. That our whole season rode on it, and we went up 2 points. There was like 2 minutes left. We just had to hold them, and they tried, and we killed them all. We had 4 bodies alive with like a minute left, and we had no reason to hit the buzzer. We were winning the match no matter what and winning the series. So, me, Poppy, our guy, my best friend, I hope Weasel listens to this. Weasel is my best friend, whether he knows it or not. And then our other guy, John, were standing on the field. We realized we were the only ones left. We realized we won the series, and I looked at Poppy and said, "Hey, man, 1v1 me." And we started shooting at each other there on the field, and then Weasel shot John in the ass, and he walked off the field, and then Weasel went to go hit the buzzer, and I shot him in the arm, and he
Hell
walked
yeah.
off the field, and then Poppy started shooting at me, and I said, "No, seriously, Poppy, if we trade right now, it's a no point. So let's just stop while we're ahead."
That's
And
awesome.
the ref walked over, looked at me. He was like, "You're clean. You can hit it." I was like, "Why? I'm just gonna sit here in the shade behind this bunker for 30 seconds, and we just won the series." So yeah,
There
that's
you
probably
go.
my favorite moment.
Have a little fun while you're ahead, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, let's I know since I'm in the lovely Rat Kings Facebook chat, I'm gonna scroll and see if we got any of the fanboys in there that want to hear something, about Steven.
Don't do it.
I think the one thing that does kind of need to be covered a little bit is you really wear more than just one hat on the team. Obviously, you're a player.
Ooh, yes.
Obviously, you've been captain. You're kind of a coach, whether you think you are or not. But then there's that video side of you and your wife Olivia. Like you guys really are kind of a powerhouse partner duo in it. You know, she goes out and takes all the hits during practice and the tournaments to get you the footage so you can turn around and edit it. Kind of, dive into that just a little bit, for us, because obviously you've got, the Rat Kings movie, this is the second iteration of it.
Yeah, don't watch the first one. The first one's but second one's pretty good. Yeah, I should have shouted it out earlier, but if anyone listened this long, check out my YouTube channel, Get 'em Out Paintball. My wife, I'll be honest, since we posted the movie, I haven't done jack shit. I mean, I was so mentally exhausted after making the movie that I'm trying to find a way back into making the video content again, but it's a lot to juggle. I mean, but the long and short of it is Get 'em Out Paintball was started because my first ever tournament, my wife Olivia, who's the real MVP, was filming through the net some of my points in my first D6 3-man event, and I edited some of it together to some music. It's horrible footage. I think it's still up on the YouTube if you want to see where we came from. But I thought it was cool. I played in a paintball tournament. I wanted to have footage to show off, and the more we've filmed and made videos, the more I've realized that that's really all paintball players want. Like, paintball players want to go play in a tournament and they want to win, but it kind of doesn't matter as much if you don't have pictures and footage to show your friends and family. We started last year, about 3/4 of the way through the season. Chris, the team owner, came up to me and said, "Hey, do you want to make a movie for the Rat Kings?" I said, "Yeah, sure." And we made that one in like 2 months or something, just following the D4 line on their D4 5-man series championship run and their second place in the series in D4 X Ball. And that's really how I got to know everyone on the team. I just did interviews with everyone, and that's how I realized how great all the guys were, just listening to their story. And then by the time I was close to finishing editing that movie, I was in love with the team and all the people because I knew all their stories, and I couldn't help but to want to do more for the guys because I cared about them. So we started doing a vlog, but really the vlog just started, and the tournament edits only started because we knew we wanted to make the movie this year, and I knew it was going to be a whole year of filming, but I also knew that I couldn't start making a movie until I had some type of idea of how the season was going to go. So I was just collecting footage all season, and like, I should do something with this. So we started doing the weekend vlogs and started posting tournament edits and tournament vlogs and stuff, and the feedback I got was completely unexpected. I mean, it's very odd going to tournaments and having people walk up to you like I mean, we had a team fly in from Puerto Rico and they were like, "We watch your videos." And that
That's
was,
awesome.
yeah, that was surreal. And they were like, "Yeah, we didn't even know about the Maximum Velocity Paintball series. We saw your videos and we got our team together and flew out to Florida." And there were a bunch of like unranked guys, but they were playing D4 and D5 just because they wanted to play every bit that they could, now that they knew about this big tournament series in Florida. And stuff like that is just really cool. And it's also why I need to get back to making the vlogs and making the videos again. It's a weird spot to be because I personally don't consume a lot of paintball content like that. I don't watch vlogs. I don't like vlogs. I could care less about someone waking up and making a protein shake and going to the paintball field. I know some people like watching that, but that's kind of the lane that I ended up starting getting into just because it's the easiest content to make. You film a weekend, you make a little gameplay edit to some music, and then you pad it out with all the funny shit that inevitably teammates are going to say at practice, and everyone loves it. But I'm having a hard time figuring out where we're going to go. But long term, I think Get 'em Out as a brand is something that paintball players can all relate to. I don't think there's a paintball player in the world that hasn't said the phrase "Get 'em out," at least once in their career. Yeah, so I think we're gonna continue the videos, and I know we've said it multiple times in this podcast, but I'd highly encourage anyone listening to go check out the movie. It's called Running in Circles, a Rat King story, and honestly, I know it follows our season, but if you're a divisional paintball player, you can relate to it. Anyone in divisional paintball can relate to it, and it's really about why we love paintball and then all those emotions throughout the season. But we want to get back into creating content mainly as a way to grow the sport. I've been blessed being introduced to some of the coolest guys in paintball and some of my heroes for my entire life since the sitting around playing Greg Hastings tournament paintball days. I mean, it's crazy that 2 years ago I had never stepped on a speedball field. Now I'm close friends with Rocky Cagnoni. I mean, I can't take that kind of thing for granted. And we're just trying to do right by the sport and do right by our friends. And the coaching thing, Trevor, it is very strange to be as new into paintball as I am and to be taking that captain coaching role because it's that imposter syndrome. I've dedicated a lot of my time and effort and focus to learning paintball, but it's hard to be a year and a half in and be telling people how a field plays or what they could be
Hmm.
doing better, because at the end of the day you always drive home going, oh man, what do I actually know? Hopefully I know something. Hopefully I'm not steering these guys in the wrong direction.
Right. It's crazy too, man, that like something so little, like just recording those little snippets of you playing and whatnot can just turn into something so big and something that you're so passionate about and you just love doing, and then just sharing that, just having those videos and sharing that with everybody and creating a movie is amazing, man.
Yeah, I know Keegan said he'd seen it. Have you checked it out yet?
No, I have not, but I definitely will when I go to bed here.
You'll love it,
That,
man. Trevor, did
I,
you watch it?
Oh, of course I watched it. You know I always support you.
Bro, so our team, we rent out a movie theater to watch the end of the year movie these past 2 years, and that's where I get my gratification. Like, if you've ever edited videos, especially a 2 hour long movie, like I guarantee I watched every one of those segments of that movie uh, hundreds of times. I mean,
yeah.
and when you're doing that, you get sick of it. Like I stop liking what I'm creating by the end of it. I think it sucks, but the gratification comes when I'm sitting in the theater with 50 of my guys and I'm just looking back and they're laughing and they're crying and they're just, they're so happy to have this little time capsule to look back at, and remember the good times. And that's what does it for me. That's where I get all my gratification, is just seeing how much it means to the guys I care about.
Yeah, man, that's amazing.
He was gonna send me a jersey and never did.
Yeah, well, that. Sorry, hey, other people have been using that jersey. Okay, I'm sorry. Every event, we got some new guy that doesn't have a jersey, and I go, "Hey, use this." I gotta send it to Trevor still.
Don't wash it, send it to him used.
Yeah,
So after watching your movie, you had the Edwards brothers and Keith Brown on the sidelines with you guys. What is that? What is it like having pros? I don't know what they really like helped you out with, but were they helping you out, coaching wise, or explain that relationship and how those guys were able to impact your play?
yeah. I mean, it's really. I mean, do you guys know of Rocky Cagnoni?
I personally don't know. Sorry,
No.
Okay, whenever you get it, have you ever watched the movie Push?
no.
Oh man, um, Rocky
Snoozing over here.
Cagnoni. Push is considered one of the greatest paintball movies of all time. That, and have you seen Heroes for a Day?
I've heard of it. I've not
Oh,
seen it.
if you haven't seen Heroes for a Day, it's the best. I mean, it's the best paintball movie ever made. But it's all early 2000s paintball, and Rocky Cagnoni is one of the top 7 greatest paintball players of all time. He's up there with Oliver Lang and Ryan Greenspan and those guys. He was playing for Excessive way back in the day, but he was a 2000s paintball, pro, and now he's a legend and he's a close friend of the team. He's our supervisor of morale and Twisted Tea provider. Um, but the Edwards brothers, Keith Brown, a lot of those guys Chris as a team owner has the gift of gab. He's a pro at just inserting himself into any scenario. We went to the three-man championship at the Wide World of Sports at Disney, the one they put on ESPN, and we went to the after party at Uno's Pizza, not realizing that it was an after party for just the pros and the coaches and stuff. So, so it's me, Chris, TJ, my wife are just in an Uno's Pizza surrounded by the whole Red Legion, Dynasty, Impact, and and Paintball Fit. And it, I mean, by the end of the like dinner, Mike Bianca agreed, the coach of Dynasty agreed to come play an MVPS event with us this season. So like,
Oh wow.
yeah, our coach is just really good. We None of our guys have any fear. That's kind of the great thing about paintball is it's not an exclusive club. All of these pros are highly approachable. You just talk to them. I At World Cup last year, I walked up to Ryan Greenspan because he was playing the position I was playing, and I just asked him what he was liking, how to shoot certain shots, and every experience I've had with any pro will just tell you. Like they'll just if you just ask, they'll help you. Like there's no gatekeeping in paintball. And I'd say our relationship with Keith Brown and the Edwards brothers is they're not drawing up plays or anything like that. We're just friends. Like they're just friends of the organization and personal friends of ours. And yeah, they're not drawing up plays. They're not practicing with us or anything, but we have uh, personal relationships with them. I mean, Keith Brown was just out at Palm Bay Paintball 2 weekends ago, coaching the Palm Beach Maniacs, the team that pays him to play call and draw up plays for them. And but I think just by virtue of having that guy near you and having the balls to just talk to him and ask him questions is really where we get the help from, just being around guys like that. I mean, Keith was at the field and I was just asking him about routes to run into the snake, and he's just, I mean, sometimes he's busy just yelling at the guys he's coaching, telling them that they're fucking everything up. But sometimes he'll give you tips and stuff. But yeah, I'd say Rocky Cagnoni is really the guy. He's our guy, and then the Edwards brothers are just good friends of the organization. They stop by the tent. They but yeah, they're not drawing up plays or filling pots for us or anything like that. It's just when you're around great players, you just got to listen, and they'll say something that you can use.
Yeah, man. I mean, we've
Yeah.
said it a lot before on this podcast too. The community that we have in paintball is we're blessed. Everybody in here is amazing, more than willing to help, more than willing to help. Did I just say that twice?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone is just so outgoing and super super nice. It's crazy how nice everybody is.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely. I mean, look, I hope for the sport of paintball one day the pros aren't easily accessible and they're getting paid millions of dollars and it's $200 for a grandstand ticket. But that's would be great for the sport. But right now, I'm just enjoying how niche of a community it is, and we should all
Yeah.
take advantage of that while it's like that. And I know, like, having pros around, Trevor's whole like claim to fame is the one clinic he did with Ryan Greenspan. So he's not even listening now.
No,
He's already checked
no,
out.
no, because I get a bunch of shit for it all the time. So I wear my clinic T-shirt down there, like, oh, Mr. Greenspan over here.
But like honestly, like our relationship with pros, when we were at World Cup, we got pros numbers like Nick Sloviak, but the way we feel like we could get better from those pros isn't by having them come run a clinic for us or do drills for us. Like when Chris hits up pros, he tells them like, "Hey, how much do we have to pay you to just come play paintball with us for a day and then come drink beers at Buffalo Wild Wings?" Like like that's honestly how we think we're going to get better. We could be wrong, but I think we get just as much value out of, everyone pitching in $50 and having Marcelo Margot come and play paintball with us and beat the crap out of our D3 team for a day and then drink beers with us and have a good time. I think that goes a longer way than doing clinics and drills, but
Yeah, man.
that might be a personal preference thing.
I mean, shit, it seems to be working.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see. Well, Trevor will tell you in a week whether it all went to shit or not.
Don't worry, I'll be watching. That's for sure. I'll be watching.
We expect 6 podiums. Like, and that's not exaggeration. I would bet money we take home 5 podiums this event. Our D3 X ball line is the best in maybe the country. Our D4 X ball line has Trevor, do you remember Nate Combs coming out with us one event?
I believe so.
So he's got a YouTube channel, Nasty Nate PB, and he played pro with Energy Elite this last year, and he's playing as a drop down with D3 and D4 this year. So that's going to be, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. And then we've got, the Topa brothers at D4. D3 is completely handled. I mean, you got Nate Combs and Jasper and Matt and Billy and all these just absolute killers. And then D5, I'm playing. Like I said earlier, we play the points game, so I can only play 2 D4 X Ball events this season without getting ranked up to D3 next season. And one thing I'd say to all divisional paintball players is play as low as you can for as long as you can, because winning is its own skill. Like, learning how to win is important. And last season, we were a playoff team all year. We never missed playoffs. And I think learning to be a playoff team is more important than like just screwing your points and jumping straight up to a division where you're going to not make playoffs and then you're going to spend another year trying to learn to make playoffs. And so I'm actually just playing with the D5X line this year, or the first couple events at least. And Trevor, tell me how this sounds for D5X. It's me, Pete Vogue, Bobby, Brian, and we picked up a new guy named Craig to play the home. He's from South
yeah,
Africa.
Craig. Yep. I played
Yeah,
Craig.
yeah.
Yep.
Imagine that team in D5. I mean, we have no reason not to win.
I mean, I think they'd be better without you, honestly.
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Damn.
No. I mean, I obviously being a part of the organization. I mean, I expect nothing but greatness from you guys. I mean, you guys instill greatness on each other, and honestly, there's days where you guys are talking in the group chat, and I'm just like, God, would these guys shut up about paintball? But then I'm like, it's really great to be in there and see such a positive, and you guys, it's a family. It really is a family, and that was leaving that. And this obviously is no dig to JFP or Keegan, you or Randy. It's a completely different mindset up here, and
Yeah. Well,
that's
I
the
mean,
weird.
bro, our guys, I mean, I could hit up Weasel like as soon as we're done with this and ask if he wants to go get a beer, and we'll go get a beer and just talk about paintball. It's what we're passionate about. You've also seen in the group chat though where I drive people crazy because I sometimes get a little more passionate than people expect.
Yeah, but hey, sometimes you have to. There's always that one. I do the same thing with, I help Keegan. Keegan manages the team, coaches. I also help him coach. Keegan is far more of the passive coach, I would like to say, and I'm very much hey, get your shit together. Come on, what are you doing? And it's how it has to be sometimes.
No, every team needs a pushy asshole. Like, seriously. Because without that guy, it's just it doesn't work. I mean, even if it might not even be about getting people to practice. Like, you need a pushy asshole when you're at a busy field to get your team on the field to have spins. Like, you need a guy who's not afraid to say what he thinks and mean what he says and, just push people. Because at the end of the day, like, as a team captain or a team coach, you need to make your guys care. Like, they need to care. And, yeah, sometimes you don't want to be the guy being like, oh, okay, so you're going to miss Sunday and we've only got these 3 layout practices and you're going to miss one of them. Like, hey, start giving a shit because the rest of your guys give a shit and you're letting them down, and, not everyone wants to say that to people, but, Trevor, you know me, I got no problem saying that to people.
Sure don't.
Like, because look, dude, it's straight up. We're spending all this time, money, and effort in this. I don't want a guy next to me on the field who doesn't care. Like because for me, I want to play good for the guys next to me. Like when we're going into an event, all I do is promise the guys that I'm gonna play my best fucking paintball, and I have to believe that they're gonna do the same thing for me. And if they're missing practices or, and I get this is a hobby for a lot of people, but that's also where like hedging expectations and being involved with a group of people who all have the same level of dedication is important because you can't have a team where one or two of the guys are like, hey man, this is just like, why are you taking this so seriously? I'm just trying to have fun and like, and I'm not trying to hate on that. Like that's a perfectly acceptable way to enjoy the sport. Like just have fun, but you can't combine that with another four people who go like, hey, I'm making practice, I'm sacrificing, I'm dedicating, and you're gonna piss those guys off when you've got
100%.
other guys being like, hey man, it's not really about winning. It's about like, yeah, I know, I hear you, but also it's about like doing your best and paintball's a meritocracy. Like the best people play, and you can have a team and an organization that fields players just to let them play and have fun. Or you can have a team that practices and gives everyone the same opportunity, but also make them understand like the best person in that position is going to play the lion's share of the points because at the end of the day, you have to care about your teammates enough to be humble enough to be like, hey, I'm not the only one who sacrificed to be here. Like they did too. And I have to humble myself to be like, if they're doing the job better than me, I'm going to sit because, paintball's a lot cheaper when we win, to use another one of my team slogans.
That's true.
I just wanted to say thank you for coming on and talking paintball for us for it seems like 2 hours now. But I just want to again thank you for coming on and what you do for the paintball community. We're both our podcast and what you try to do. We're trying to grow the sport, and we just got to help each other out trying to do that. And I appreciate what you're doing for our community.
Yeah, man.
Again,
Thank you so much for coming on. It was
No,
it was
hey,
great
thank you
talking
guys
to you.
for having me.
Of
No,
course.
thank you guys for having me. I told y'all I could talk paintball nonstop, so sorry if this went long.
Yeah, man. Sounds
Oh,
like you got a
no.
lot of stories. We'll have to definitely have you on again. You can definitely chat us up some more.
So, Steven, what's the most important part before going on the field?
Just fucking play, boys.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.